Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Dr. Massey, other distinguished people, if I shed a few tears this morning, it's because of joy. Joy of what I have been able to witness from 1931 to 2018. As I listened to the different comments this morning, it sort of jogged my memory. And I only wish my parents were here this morning. I share with you a few moments about the 30s. I grew up on a little small farm in a community with approximately 15 families. 7 of those families were minority. The others were of the white race. In that community, about a mile radius, we had integration. That was back in 1931. We ate at each other's table. We played hide and go seek with the children of that community. My parents saw fit that I was in Sunday school every Sunday. I learned about God. I learned about God's mission. I learned that God made Adam and Eve. I learned that from Adam and Eve, the whole multitude of people were created. Now that being the case, and as I would do the Sunday school lessons and travel around, if God made Adam and Eve, and from Adam and Eve, all people created, then that means God is our Father. And everybody coming from Adam and Eve means we all are sisters and brothers. And that was difficult for me to understand during segregation. Why people of color were restricted to a certain geographical area, were refused to enjoy even a cold drink of water from the water fountain. Why is it that we can react with one another as brothers and sisters? I began to build on that as I grew. I remember my elementary school. It was a two-teacher school, with one teacher teaching first through 4, and another teaching grades 5 through 8. On the farm, I worked from sun up to sundown, driving a mule for different people in the community, making 10 cents an hour. Did anything of this magnitude appear before me in those days? No. 8 years I was in that teaching school. I think there were 5 students in my class. My parents, my dad, worked 5.5 days a week, making from $10 to $12 a week. He worked approximately 3 miles from home. He walked that time. And on that little farm, and with the little finance my dad made, he was able to raise 8 children. Out of that 8, 6 attended college. Why am I mentioning this? I am mentioning to this that whatever you decide to do with God's help, it can be accomplished. Back in 1931, as a little boy working in the field, living among chickens, pigs, whatever it was, I'm 31 to this day. I have traveled all over the United States. I've traveled through Europe and Asia. I've walked with presidents of universities. How could this be that? It's because God is an omnipotent God. He knows everything. He makes it. He creates it. He created me. So that as God, my Father, who is omnipotent, gave me all the potentials I need to be successful. But the bottom line, I had to make a contribution. I could not sit back and make those potentials God gave me develop. I had to have a desire. I had to have an initiative. I had to have a dream. I had to have knowledge. I had to have love. If I was going to do something about some of the things that I was doing. Please excuse me, I wish I had time to give you the rest of the story. But for 85 years, you can imagine, I could tell you a lot. And it all has not been possible. When I went into the military and I came back, I was asked to come to Greenville, North Carolina, to work in a little country school called Southern Branch. When I got to that school, I had a culture shock. The culture shock, and again, this is during our segregation. Most of the parents in that community were sharecroppers. I had a class enrollment of 40 students. There would be days I wouldn't have 10 students in the class. Where were they? They were out in the field. Cultivating history class for the more advanced people. And my concern at that time was my mission is to get these students an understanding and knowledge that this does not have to be what they are the rest of their life. I said to them, you are not responsible for where you come, but you are responsible for where you go. And it's my concern to work with people to help spotlight those youngsters, to help them develop the desire to want to be educated. And I knew education was a light. Ignorance is darkness. So education is the opposite of ignorance. If you are educated, you are able to see so many different things. If you are not, everything is dark. So where do you go in the darkness? It's difficult to move around. It's just like driving your automobile at night. If you turn your lights on, where do you go? Or if you turn your lights off, where do you go? You can't see it. That's what education in life is. Education is that light. And the youngsters that are here today, I would like to say to you, regardless of what anyone says, it is your responsibility to educate yourself. The system provides the opportunity. But if you don't do it yourself, it's not going to happen. And I've seen so much of that. Youngsters just do not want an education. They do not want their eyes open, that they can see what's going on. Just a couple of things I want to leave with you. From whence I've come, I have served on basically every board in Pitt County and surrounding areas. Many of those boards, I was the only minority on those boards. Many boards called to ask if I would serve. And it was coming so fast, I would say, are you asking me to serve as a token? Because integration is beginning to arrive. Or are you asking me to serve because you think I have the knowledge that you do? Then honestly, do you think you have the knowledge you do? I remember on the local mental health board, I was asked if I would serve on the state mental health board. So I said to the person, I don't think I would like to serve on that board. I've got enough on my plate. So he said, Ray, get some of the small stuff off of your plate and put some of the big stuff. That was a state mental health. I was on that board 6 months and was asked to serve as chairman of that board. That board is made up of doctors from Duke, Carolina, etc. So I said, why not these professors here? I said, Mr. Ray, the decision has already been made. They want you as chairman. So my name is presented. It was unanimous. I remember at community college here, I was serving on the local mental board. I was the only one on the board. I was chair. We were having a meeting one night, and the chair, who was the doctor, was called up to the emergency. That night, Ray Rickard, it's a complete. And as I was presiding at the meeting, there were two psychologists over in the side of me, carrying on and then this conversation. I'm not the other one now. Trying to preside. So I said to the group, I said, members of the board, let me have your attention a moment. I said, we have two people over here that's carrying on a conversation much more important than what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to pause and give them time to complete the conversation. And then we will continue. Up here. As the meeting ended, I came out and this was still segregation of a few areas. The county commissioner, the chairman of the county commission, and the county managers were standing at my car. So the first thing hit me is that, well, he's going to recommend me because what I said to these psychologists. He said, Mr. Moody, do you have a minute? I said, what's that? He said, well, have you thought about being a member of the community? I knew on that way that they were all merchants, business owners. No need to fight on it like I. So I said, no, it doesn't. I said, well, we would love to have you on. Say, why not go on and talk with your family and see how they would see and give us a call. I did. And I was the only party on that board for the number. Even though it was my desire to integrate that board. For 30 years, I served on that board. Usually, people would serve 1 or 2 terms, which is a 4-year term. But I stayed 30 years. 9.5 as chairman of the board. As Dr. Massey said earlier, he came in under my age. And we employed Dr. Massey at the county commissioners meeting one day. I was at that meeting, and the question was asked of him, Mr. Redford, could you all have gotten a cheaper person? I said, yes, sir, we could have. But we wanted somebody that was going to lead, and not somebody that we were going to have to micromanage. And as you look around, this institution, one of the leading institutions, not only in North Carolina, so you understand. I've had an opportunity of being on the board to travel through the Pacific Coast, up and down the East Coast, as well as the South, following the community. one of the organizers of it, Dr. Russell and Dr. Massey. I put these three guys in different categories. Dr. Fulton was the an organizer. Dr. Russell, what I consider to be the property provider. In other words, when this college was first organized, we just had this small area around. And each year they would appropriate money to build buildings. And we had the long-range site. When property became available adjacent to that little park, rather than building a building, we bought property. We did this 3 different times. So that's why you hear Dr. Massey say all the time, it's one of the most overcrowded buildings in the state. That's true. But we have problems. We don't have to worry about property when we want to build another building. When I came aboard, there were 3 buildings in the street. When I came on board, there were 10 minorities enrolled in this institution. Look at it. And my pet peeve always is to Dr. Massey. We need to do more for people who are underserved. I never said we had to do more for black people or minorities. During those days, those were dividing areas. You would use the race issue. They would build against you. I learned that through education. You learn what destroys you, and you learn what. When I said underserved people, then people began, and I said black people. And almost been a fact. So from the concept of underserved people, the institution continued to grow minority as well. And now I see you've been one of the most renowned individuals that I know. As I served on the board, and as I served as a member under your leadership, I can never remember the moment that I was not pleased with your leadership. It was a holistic leadership. Irregardless of who you are, you appeared to be that individual that was concerned about people. And that's what I was. I wasn't concerned just about white. I was concerned about people. And I asked my good God, what can I do to sort of look at this as one? And I went back to my old math days as we used to solve fractions. You cannot add 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5. You've got to find at least the common denominator. You've got to find something that you can tie all these into. Once you found that at least common denominator, then whether it's 1/3, 1/2, 1/4, it's all the same. Because you've got that at least common denominator. And I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, help me to find a way that I can work in harmony with white, black, Hispanic, etc. And I too came up with the least common denominator. And my least common denominator was human being. Human being. It wasn't white, it wasn't Hispanic. And so as I worked through that philosophy, God has been good to me. And growing up, I asked God to help me to find a good job, a good wife, and 2 children. God did that. That's what I asked for. I got that. But you know what? God is a great God. God is a God with everything man will need. So he not only gave me a lovely wife, good job, 2 children, but he gave me so many more things that I never asked. And I say to you today, God is omnipotent. He has everything. You are his children. Call on him. And as you go on your job day by day, I say to you, especially the youngsters here, number one, educate yourself. And number 2, know your job. Know your job. And as you learn your job, learn the job above your requirement. If you're a school teacher, just don't be satisfied with teaching school. Be satisfied with becoming a principal. Be satisfied with becoming a superintendent. Look beyond what you have. And don't continue to, what I might say sometimes, talk about your leadership, talk about your principle. If you do not like what he's doing, help him to do it better. As we go through life, again, as I said, develop a marriage. And that marriage is between God and man. God has been my leader. He's been my salvation from back in 1931. And to you, there's much more to the story, and I'll do it some other time. But again, know your job, respect who you work for, help those that are in need. Just don't be satisfied with, as the old saying goes, don't be satisfied with a nickel. The story goes that a youngster asked the minister for a nickel. And the minister looked at him and said, "What? Nickel?" He said, "Son, don't you ever ask me for a nickel. Ask me for a dollar. Always ask for me. 9 times out of 10. I think all of you got and able to become through this journey from a little boy plowing a new field to the person who has been in elementary, high school, community college,
God bless you.